Eager to file bar defense, but you're wondering while you're waiting what will happen to your credit score and how to achieve other financial goals? We'll teach you in a few minutes how we're helping borrowers achieve their goals while they're in this waiting limbo game. However, if you don't care about your credit score or have other plans at all, just skip this video. We'll go over how long it takes, what happens to your payments, and what to do if you want to buy a home before your claim decision. Hi, everyone. I'm Kat. I'm the CEO of LoanSense. I'm also a house hacker. We help people get their loans forgiven and discharged through programs like bar defense.
And I'm Melanie. I work directly with borrowers to make sure their applications are not only submitted, but complete and ready to succeed.
Awesome. So first of all, 91% of you are not subscribed. Please hit the subscribe button if you want to give us a small boost of encouragement for this content, like a cookie, except you don't have to buy us one. I want a cookie. Please subscribe, like our content, and share with those who it may help, okay? So again, today's content, I'm going to be asking Melanie a few questions to break down what happens after the application process. We'll be answering some of the more common questions, like what actually happens after I file for bar defense. So whether you're ready for a review, thinking about a plan, this video can help you understand what to expect next, especially if you're thinking about buying a home or making sure your payments on your student loans or lack of payments, therefore, do not hurt your credit score, right? People are always curious about that. So Melanie, what's the first thing that happens once a borrower submits their application?
So the good news is once your application is received and processed, your loans can be placed into administrative forbearance. So this means you can opt to not make payments while the Department of Education reviews your claim.
So is being put on administrative forbearance automatic, or do you need to make a special request to get into forbearance?
So if you submit online through studentaid.gov, you'll usually see the forbearance kick in within a few weeks. Once you tick, there's a portion in the application that would ask you if you want to put your loans in forbearance or if you want to continue repayment. So if you do tick on the box which says you want to put it on forbearance, and it will kick in within a few weeks after you submitted the application. If you mail your application and you tick that portion in the application, it will take longer because it will go through mailing and everything. So you should follow up by calling the borrower defense line.
So it sounds simple enough. So the big question is, when can people expect to hear back if their loans are discharged through bar defense? I mean, that's a huge weight off your shoulders, right? People always want to know, how long is this going to take? When am I going to hear? When are the loans going to be gone from my credit? Things like that, right?
Yeah, and that's a very common question that I actually get asked of. So it really depends. Timelines vary. Some borrowers hear back within 6 to 12 months. Others may wait up to 2 years or longer, especially if their school isn't on the group discharge list or if the claim requires deeper investigation. So the good news is that U.S. Department of Education is required to respond within 1 year for schools on the Sweet versus Cardona list, and 3 years if the school is not on the list. So if you don't hear back within the timeline, your loans are automatically discharged.
Wow, that's amazing news. So what I'm hearing is if people are on the Sweet versus Cardona list, they hear back sooner, within a year. If the school isn't, then it will take longer. So for people watching this, if it's been a while and they haven't heard back, what should they do?
You can definitely follow up. You call the borrower defense hotline and you make sure that your application is in review status. And yes, it's okay to resubmit if you've gathered stronger evidence since the first time.
So Melanie, just to reiterate your point, what happens if the Department of Ed doesn't respond in a timely manner again? I know we talked about it a bit, but I just want to reiterate the point. What happens if they don't respond in a timely manner?
So technically there's no firm deadline, right? But the longer they take, the more pressure it puts on the borrower because waiting in limbo sucks. And that's I think everywhere. So, however, the good news is if the U.S. Department of Education doesn't respond within 3 years, your loans are automatically forgiven.
Wow, that's amazing. That's just really amazing. So now so it really does not hurt to apply if the school defrauded you and you don't get the promised result, right? That's what bar defense is about. But let's shift to what happens during this waiting game. People are waiting like, oh my God, anxious. Are the loans going to get forgiven or not? What if they're not? Because 130,000 people did not get their claim accepted, right? This is really important for borrowers who are working towards home ownership. And a lot of them apply without understanding the implications to debt to income. So what happens if someone is in forbearance from administrative forbearance from the bar defense review, and now they want to buy a home?
Right, that's a very good question. So when you're in forbearance, your loan still shows up as having a balance on your credit report, even though you're not making any payments. So most mortgage lenders, especially FHA and conventional underwriters, they will calculate your monthly debt as 0.5% of your loan balance, even if you're not paying anything right now. So if you're trying to take out a conventional Fannie loan, your lender will have to use 1% of the balance. And this means that if you have, let's say, 90,000 in student loan debt, the lender will use $900 towards your debt to income ratio. So we encourage lenders to use products that only count 0.5% instead of 1% of the balance, because you don't enter into repayment at this time.
So to make sure viewers of this channel understand, and we definitely have lenders and loan officers, if you have 60,000 in student loan debt, for example, that you're trying to get discharged, that's on administrative forbearance, they would count 300 for an FHA product and 600 a month against you in your debt to income ratio for a Fannie product, right?
Exactly. So there's a Freddie Mac conventional product that will also count as $300. And we can help borrowers in the borrower defense program navigate this. So that's why it is important to understand the impacts and talk to your loan officer before going into a contract on a home. There's no way to enter into a payment and get a payment of $50 counted based on your income, because you're not turning down borrower defense in a complete discharge of debt.
Yes. So that's a great point. Like, some people are like, I'm not going to turn down my debt discharge to buy a home, right? So in general, if people are not interested in home buying, what happens to your credit during administrative forbearance? Because a lot of people are like, yeah, what happens to my credit report? Does my credit get hit? You know, what are you seeing?
So from what we see, you still have the balance on your credit report, but you're not required to pay. Therefore, no late payments are reported, so you should have minimal impact on your credit. Now, once the debt is forgiven, it should boost the credit score slightly because you have reduced your debt burden relative to your income. So this is a small 90 to 20 points boost for some folks, and it isn't really significant as the burden of payment is being lifted off your shoulder.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say the burden of not having to pay 60 grand is bigger than the 9-point boost, right? So the boost might change depending on what amount of debt relative to income that the credit bureaus believe your income is. And they get that when you apply for a credit card, you report your income, right? So there's a formula in credit scoring that takes the relative debt you have and the type of debt or the percentage of your credit score. Just elaborate on that. So we can't wait to help borrowers in the bar defense if you qualify and it's right for you to achieve your results. The big message is here. If you're stuck in forbearance, you're waiting in limbo and your financial goals like home buying can be delayed, the best move is to stay proactive, follow up in 60 to 90 days, check your loan servicer account to confirm you're in forbearance. You don't want it to say it's not in forbearance and then they make payments due when in fact you should be in forbearance. And if you need to speak to an advisor like us to strategize the next best step, whether you've applied or not, we're here. Especially if you have not applied, we can help you right end to end. So
yes, and so if you filed or put in on your agenda to work on the 21-page application but haven't made time, we can definitely help you. Most of our borrowers come to us because they don't have time. They don't have the luxury of time to fill out the 21-pager application. So come to us and we'll help you. If you haven't filed yet, the time is now. These programs take time to process, and the longer you wait, the longer your loan sits on your credit, impacting your options. So not to mention that this is not, again, a legislative program, so it can end at any point or run out of funds. And we encourage people to apply as soon as possible.
yeah, absolutely. So we offer a free 15-minute consult with Melanie, who gets amazing reviews. To understand, number one, understand if you qualify. If you've not seen our video yet on our 15-minute consult and what we do to help you determine if you qualify and the evidence, take a peek, but we help you understand if you qualify, strategize over how to handle your loans while in review, what evidence to gather, and complete the application start to finish.
Right. So click the link below to get a step-by-step guide on how to file for a borrower defense or to schedule a free call. I added a few more slots, but it's limited. So we have help with end-to-end application completion or even insight on how to achieve your home buying goals while you wait in limbo. So LoanSense is here to help you.
Yep, and don't forget to subscribe for a cookie, but share it with someone who might have attended a school that defrauded them. Student loan discharge is real. Let's make sure you don't miss out on this opportunity if you qualify and in fact have the evidence that we can support you in the application. Thank you.